One blue and one purple. What in the fuck? Wait, did this always look like this? Did this always look like this? Yo guys, what is up? Mike's in another first Descendant video, and today we're going over the recent hotfix 1.2.5 that just dropped. There's a few new things in this hotfix for the first Descendant, but there's also a fair bit of like what's to come in the game in the coming months. So I hope you enjoy the video. We're gonna break down everything you need to know. Let's get right into it. All right, so we're starting with content improvements. They reduced the number of elite trackers, skill projectiles from 5 to 3, and obstacles have been added to Void Erosion Purge to provide cover. I actually like this change. There was some times where it would be a little difficult to survive. Sounds like you play a little bit more tactical now instead of just wide in the open. Next we get some big changes to specifically rocket launchers. They've added new firearm groups of 3 new high power round mods exclusively to launchers that are all about buffing explosive radius. They amplify a launcher's explosive radius, enabling attacks with a wider range. So we've got a common one that gives us plus 32% explosive radius, a rare one with plus 49% explosive radius, and another rare one with plus 26 explosive radius. Obviously, the one with the biggest comes with the downside of lower fire rate, but it sounds like you're going to be able to possibly put 2 of these on for quite a bit more radius. Obviously, this isn't, I don't think, going to do anything for like Colossus damage, but that like Glay build that we were using literally like when the game first came out, which was Glay rocket launcher with vestigial organ, that is kind of faded into obscurity. Now maybe it's possible that we see a comeback for like AoE farming with Glay with infinite rocket launchers, with your rocket launcher now covering like 80% more radius. Could be pretty fun. Seems like it could be a more viable playstyle. Then we get to UI and UX improvements. They made it so now it displays the core items dropped in fields with icon exclusives for cores, so it's more like clear that you're picking them up when you're playing, because I literally never saw them. So good change there. They made some changes to like more of the core sorting. An improvement was made to the Void Erosion Purge so that you can check the stage where monsters with crowd control immunity are spawned. When the player is killed in Void Erosion Purge, you will respawn in a safe place so you don't get immediately piled on when you spawn. That actually happened to me a few times. When Void Erosion Purge is not unlocked, requirements will be displayed in a tooltip in the world and map icon, so more clear what you need to do to unlock it. And they added a button that moves you to the next stage immediately after completing Void Erosion Purge. I'm hoping this means that you could do like the Void Erosion Purge and then not have to go back to town. You could just go to the next stage, because you kept having to go back, move the thing over, and then redo again, which felt a little silly. So good improvements there. And then lastly, in the Operation Start request screen for each mission, tooltips will now be displayed to describe gold and XP icons for like, you know, how much you're going to earn in that mission, which is pretty cool. And then we get some miscellaneous changes. The maximum number of total carryable consumables has been increased to 100 million, so shouldn't be running out of those, hopefully, anytime soon. The maximum number of shape stabilizers that you can hold increases by master rank. The number of ETA vouchers that you can carry is the same as before. The number of Void Abyss metal fragments that you can obtain by completing 400% infiltration operations has been increased from 20 to 40. Good change there. And they fixed an issue where the player unintentionally falls out of the map in Void Erosion Purge. Next up, for the events, to ensure Descendants can fully enjoy the core content, the exchangeable item list in the ongoing New Year's Luck Shop has been adjusted. They're like just kind of adjusting some of these rewards here. So 5 Void Abyss Metal Fragments, originally planned as the main reward for weeks 3 and 4, will be placed with 5 Core Particle Disruptors. Next, we get to bug fixes. We've got content, Descendants, weapon and modules, UI, and miscellaneous, which is quite a few things. There's not too much to mention here with the bug fixes for content. There was just an issue where you could not enter the content while in a party in Void Erosion Purge, so that was been fixed. Good change there. For Descendants, there was issues with laundry bombs not working in certain situations, and your like animations kind of messing up on Valby. Also, your Dark Currents min damage fixed at 1 with Inez. I believe that means that Dark Currents should be dealing more damage. And also, the time of the Hunting Hounds was not increasing snare acrobatic damage based on charge time. So some damage fixes for Inez. I think those sound like improvements to her. They fixed a bug with Jaber's turrets. They also fixed an issue where equipping electric conductor modules with Bunny, Ultimate Bunny failed to apply damage boosts affected by electricity when hitting electrical discharge and high voltage skills, so a buff to like electric conductor if you're using that with Bunny. And they fixed an issue where HP is not consumed when using light speeding skill after equipping Bunny and Ultimate Bunny's bionic fuel skill module. Good fix there. This is a pretty notable fix. There was a bug going around where you could fire a rocket launcher and like transfer its damage attributes to a shotgun, where you could like 4x the damage of all of your shotgun shots. That has now been bug fixed, so that is no longer doing that. People were using that to kill Defiler very quickly. They've got some few UI changes here, and then lastly, there's a few issues with the New Year's shop and like Inez skins that weren't working properly. That they're now kind of giving people extra 2025 tokens to compensate for, and they're fixing. And then we get to like the more important stuff, which is the director's comment. I'd like to briefly share some news about our upcoming update. This is kind of looking forward. As mentioned in the previous Dev Live, we'll be skipping the hotfix scheduled for January 30th, which coincides with the Korean Lunar New Year. Instead, we're focusing on preparing the 1.2.6 minor update scheduled for February 6th. This update will include support for keyboard and mouse on consoles, along with platform certification during this period. We appreciate your understanding and look forward to it. On February 6th, they're going to be adding Void Purge leaderboards, 10 tiers of augmentation cores, and 30 stages of Void Erosion Purge. That looks pretty cool. And it looks like these leaderboards, I'm actually pretty excited for these. Looks like there's going to be different leaderboards as like a global leaderboard. So here we've got like the leaderboard, which is like who is doing it fastest for all Descendants. But then you'll also be able to click on each Descendant and see like what the fastest time is on each of the Descendants, which I think is really interesting because like obviously, you know, if you're playing Jaber, you're probably not going to be able to keep up with like an Inez clear speed for Void Erosion, but you could still have like the fastest clear on Jaber, for example. So that looks pretty interesting. We're introducing a leaderboard for Void Erosion Purge that showcases the top players who compete the highest stages in the fastest time. You'll be able to view rankings not only by platform, but also by individual Descendants. Use the leaderboard to study the most effective builds and compete with other Descendants to set record-breaking clear times. I'm hoping that these leaderboards are going to work well. I don't know what the current state is with like cheaters and hackers and stuff like that. It was definitely an issue with Colossus kills. You'd have people like joining your Colossus kills and just like killing them with a single shot. So hopefully these leaderboards are not affected by them, or if they are, they remove times that are clearly not legitimate. Then we get to our augmentations. Crafting cores can now be accessed through Descendant. This system allows you to combine lower tier augmentation cores and materials obtained from Void Erosion Purge to create higher tier cores. With this update, you'll be able to craft up to tier 10 augmentation cores, empowering your ultimate weapons to reach their full potential. I like this quite a bit. Basically, when you were going through Void Erosion Purge, you would get all these augmentation cores, but you didn't care about any of them besides the max level one. So it was like, what was the point of even having 1 through 19 if everything from 1 through 19 is basically irrelevant, and only like the things that drop on 20 you care about, and you can't like farm lower tier ones. So now all of those cores, if you're doing the lower tier ones or you can't do the higher tier ones quite yet, you'll be able to like combine them to create more, which I think is great. And then they're also adding Void Erosion Purge. We're going from 20 to 30. New stages ranging from 21 to 30 will be added. These stages are significantly more challenging than stage 20 and will introduce new environments to enhance the experience. The higher the stage, the better rewards, such as higher tier augmentation cores, but the difficulty will also increase accordingly. Prepare carefully and challenge these new stages to compete on the leaderboard rankings. In addition to these updates, we've prepared various quality of life improvements, which will be detailed in future update patch notes. Also, mark your calendars for February 13th, when we'll release a winter hot spring themed update. We'll unveil new skins and share more details. As we celebrate the Lunar New Year in Korea, we'd like to take this opportunity to send our warmest regards to all global Descendants. May this year be filled with health and happiness. So all seemingly good changes here. This also addresses one of my issues with the Void Erosion Purge. I think the Void Erosion Purge is good content. I think it's content the game needs, but I think it's also repetitive and a bit boring because you're doing the same stage for 20. Like, you want to farm stage 20, and stage 20 is you're just doing the same exact arena. So I'm hoping that with this stage 30, that it actually changes. Like if you do stage 30 5 times in a row, you could get different stage 30s or different maps each time. So it's not the exact same layouts with the exact same spawns. Maybe that doesn't quite work with the leaderboard system that they're going for, but I would like to see some more variety, specifically if you're going to do an activity a whole bunch of times. I also would be cool with them adding difficulty just to add difficulty. I don't think, like, for example, we need to be rewarded for higher difficulty. If you're going to do leaderboards, you could just have a higher difficulty to keep pushing and see who can go higher. Like, for example, in Diablo, we have like pit tiers or dungeon tiers where you don't need to clear like a pit 150 or something akin to that to get the best loot. It's like between anything over 100, you're just getting kind of similar loot, but there's the challenge for those that want to go higher. So I would be cool with them adding from 30 to 50 just to see if we could push our builds as far as they could possibly go without actually having much rewards for it, so that you could say, oh, like, you know, this character can clear a void erosion 44. Can't quite get to 50, but it can get to 44. And just having that extra, like, you know, vertical endgame grind, I think is something that this game needs. So I think this is the right step, but I think there's still probably some things that they could add to this to really amplify the amount of endgame that TFD currently has. I'd love to see, you know, the ability to just push our builds as far as possible and see how far we can go with them. And I think these are steps in the right direction for that. All right, guys, that is going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. I will catch y'all in the next one, guys. Take care. Peace.